Hi, we are back on the scene for the Sacred Partnership Summit, and I'm here with Jillian Schempp. Hi, Jillian. I'm so happy to have you.
Hello, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Hello. Yes, my pleasure. Hello. I just want to tell everybody about you because we're going to talk about dating and we're going to talk
Okay,
about how to be a rock star at dating, right?
of course, you betcha.
Is Jillian Schempp is a dating and relationship coach, and she helps women attract their soulmate relationship, even if dating has been heartbreaking and there has been pain. And she's teaching you how to date better with information, with wisdom, with understanding of men and what you should look for and what you should think about when you're dating. So that's what we're going to go through. And that's what we're going to talk about in our interview that I'm really excited about because women really need this.
Yes, they do.
I needed it. I needed it. I teach it. I know you needed it. So yeah, definitely something that's really, really important. Okay. So let's talk about this whole thing about we have text messaging, we have dating apps, we have social media. How do we create high level engagements on our acts that will lead to actual dates?
Well, this is the thing, and I'll just give a little precursor
Yeah.
before I answer this. It'll answer it, but we'll go even deeper. Like, for example, so I have the benefit. So I'm going to be turning 46 this year. So I have the benefit of having dated before cell phones, before texting, before social media,
Yeah.
before dating apps, before all of that. So when I met my ex-husband and we were together for 20 years, I was 21 years old. I met him in a bar. He had to ask for my number. He had to approach me, okay, in person. He asked for my number. I wrote my number. We found a pen. I wrote it on his arm, and then he called me. And at that time, we had the landline, and I was screening my calls because there was a couple other dudes calling me that I didn't want to talk to at that time. But he just kept getting through, and because he was working up north, and I didn't know the number he was calling from, and he would ask me out on a date, and I thought, okay, well, I'll go on a date with him. Well, that was just the natural, normal, old school, progression of
Yes.
a courtship. And it was just a beautiful textbook courtship where he would ask me out on dates. And if I was available, I would go. I was in college at the time. I was working on the weekends in a bar. There was times where he would just come sit in the bar to be with me, you know.
Aw.
So right there is a big, big clue if that a man likes you because he wants to see you. He wants to be around you. Big, big, big clue number one. The other thing in our sort of textbook courtship is, he wanted to take me away on weekend vacations, sometimes like to go skiing and whatnot, because I live in Canada. Sometimes I couldn't go because I was working on the weekends. He wanted me to meet his friends. He wanted to take me, to Calgary. I live in Medicine Hat, Alberta. He wanted to take me to Calgary to meet his friends. He wanted me to meet his mom, and it just progressed into a relationship. I never once ever had to question if he liked me or not. I knew it because his actions were so very, very powerful. So, and then in today, let's fast forward to the modern day of dating, and it's very, 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 very confused. And so, for me personally, it's not that I have a problem with texting in general itself. It's not that texting is bad, but in my personal opinion, it is the lowest form of communication between a man and a woman in a courtship situation that there is. It gets very confused. You don't have the person in front of you're not in each other's energy fields. You can't read their body language. You can't see what's happening on their face. You can't, like, we learn so much from the mouth and the eyes and all of that, and it's just missing, and it's very, very I would like to say lazy. It's lazy,
Yeah.
lazy, lazy, right? So now we've got this situation in the modern day of dating. And instead of a man seeing, not to say men don't see girls out and ask them out, of course they still do that, but it's really, really moved to the online dating. So I do think people should do both online and offline dating, in person. And I kind of have a strategy for that. But it's getting this situation that usually is going to start out with a text message or on social media, and then how are you going to move that into a courtship, and how can you tell which men like you enough to be in their masculine energy and pursue you? And that's where
Yes.
it gets so confused, and people don't, I think women don't know, they just truly don't know, and so they can waste weeks, months, years. God,
Years.
I wrote a book, okay, and I've made every mistake in the book multiple times. So I judge nobody. I know what it's like out there, and it's crazy. But yeah, that's the point, is just how do you go from, point A to point B and then onward. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. I'm not sure. I
Yeah,
rambled.
yeah. So then they should just download the book, right? That
Yeah,
we're going to put
exactly.
the link below, because that's going to teach them how to do that. That's going to teach them how to move off the apps and off the text and actually meet in person.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes.
Because if
Okay.
you don't meet, in my personal opinion, this is just my personal opinion. I don't have every single answer. I'm not God, but I do have some really great pieces of the puzzle. Yeah, you just really want to get it into person, because I almost think that anything that happens before you meet in person, I'm not going to say it's null and void, but in a way it kind of is. For me, the real dating starts when you meet in person. And
Right.
this is another thing about, here I go off on tangents, but another thing about the modern world of dating is that we are dating globally now. And so,
Yeah.
and sometimes we just meet people from other cultures, and for whatever reason, we just have some sort of dynamic with each other that just like, there's just energy there in these sparks, but you may live in a different country. So and obviously there's rules and exceptions to the rules. So when you're meeting somebody long distance, sometimes those relationships can just go for months or years without two people meeting. And then maybe you meet in person, maybe you do eventually meet in person. It's like, oh, that is not the person that I met online. So that was a
Right.
real waste of time. So, as we're talking about it, the key is getting in person.
Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely right. It's exactly what you need to do, because until you get in person, you know nothing. You're not in a relationship. It's a pen pal.
Exactly.
That's what I
Exactly.
say. You have a pen pal,
You
right?
have a pen pal, yeah.
Okay, amazing. So now, how can women know when she's going on dates with men and she's meeting the men? How does she know if they are sincere? If it's just something that they're doing for an ego boost, or if they actually like her and see her in his future? How can they know this?
Yeah, I would say probably the biggest key, but there are many little ones. Is he trying to see you? Is he trying to make you,
Yeah.
yeah, is he trying to make you his girl? Because when a man sees a woman as his dream girl or his girlfriend, his words and his actions are going to show you that he cares. So, and you know what? I'm just going to say this, and you've probably heard it before. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but it is true. When a man likes you, you know it.
No.
You do not have to question it. You know, because he's showing you. So how is he showing you? Well, he's trying to see you. He wants to come pick you up. He wants to take you out. He wants to impress you. He's probably talking. Women like to talk and share, but let me tell you what, when a man likes a woman, he's talking and sharing with you because he's trying to impress you. And so I just will say a little aside of that. Sometimes women think, oh my God, this guy is talking so much. Is this guy like an egotistical maniac? Maybe he is, it's very possible, but likely not. He is trying to impress you. That's what the masculine does. He wants you. I say in my book, like, just envision him like the peacock with the beautiful feathers. He's the
Yeah.
peacock with the beautiful feathers, and he's trying to impress you. So he's talking and he's sharing, and he's telling you about his mom, and he's telling you about his dad, and he's telling you about his brothers, and he's telling you about his sisters, and he's telling you about his past. He's also
One other thing he's trying to do is trying to make sure he's seeing you in the future. So he's asking you out again. He's making plans. He's now making plans that include you in his life for the future. So he's calling you, he's texting you, he's coming to pick you up, he's wanting to see you, he's taking you out on dates. He wants to show you his world because he wants to make you a part of his world, and he wants to see if you fit in his world. So he's going to be, taking you to his favorite places and showing you his favorite places and these things. So, you just don't have to question it, because he's doing all of these things and wanting to see you and probably verbalizing that he cares. So, do you have, maybe you have a couple more things that you can add to that if I missed anything?
Yeah, no, you didn't miss anything, but I just want to say it's exactly right. And because we're talking about sacred partnership, and we're talking about how to attract that and keep that and sustain that. I want to say is, like, if you let a man who's doing those things be the one that's in your life and not the other ones.
Yeah.
Right. If you give that man a chance, and I always say, even if he's not a 10, if he's a 5, 6, 7, that's okay. Because trust me, once you start kissing and getting romantic, oxytocin is going to take over, and suddenly he's going to be a 10. Right. But the one that wants you, the one that's interested, the one that wants you in his life is showing. Right. If you give him a chance, you know what? And this is why I always say, why should a relationship end if it's working for both people? If it's working for both people, then it's not going to end. So if you attract a man like that, who wants you in his life, who's a masculine man, then my husband still does all of those things 13 years later. And I don't know, Jillian, maybe you want to share, because I haven't been through a divorce. So I don't know what changes or how it changes or why it does. But I'm assuming, if it worked for everybody, it wouldn't go there. But what I'm trying to say is, what you're allowing, how you're dating in the beginning, and this is what we really want to stress, how you date is how you marry.
Exactly.
How you date is how you marry. So if you're not dating this, if he's not doing these things when you're dating, it's not going to change. And you're probably also not with a masculine man who's ready or healthy or wants to be with you. And so those are the men you need to sort out, and you need to focus on the men that are doing what Jillian is talking about, right?
Well, and
that's what I wanted to add.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's exactly it too. And if we don't have this, as you call it, this sacred knowledge to get into a sacred partnership, then we can make excuses for men that just don't care about us. And I really warn women about being with a man that doesn't care for you. Listen, it's not only a bad idea. I'm not trying to scare anybody by saying this at all, but it can actually be dangerous. You do not want to put your heart in the hands of a man who does not truly love you. Right. It's just a recipe for pain and heartache and emotional distress. And my whole reason for doing what I do, and listen, we're going to go through some of that when we're dating. Okay. It's just part of the process while we are learning all of this, because we have to put all of this into practice, and practice makes perfect. And sometimes we can learn it quickly. Sometimes it takes a long, 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 long time. Everybody has their own process, but don't make excuses for men that don't love us, because if maybe he's too busy, maybe he's just not interested enough. Both of those are reasons to walk away and to not engage with those guys anymore, because we cannot get anything out of a man that he is not ready, willing, and capable of giving. And the only reason he is going to give it is because if he meets a girl and he sees her as his dream girl, as his wife, as his girlfriend, he will not only willingly give it, he will want to give it. There's no way, there's just no trick in the book to pull love out of a man. It just doesn't work. So if it's not there right from the get-go, within the first, I believe that, really within the first date, how, if things are going to kind of move forward or not. But if he's not doing all those things that we talked about, then you gotta walk away, because it's not going to change. You're right. You said it. It's not going to change.
Going
People
to change.
It's too hard. We are who we are, and we're very set in our ways. And if we really, really want to change, I mean, we can always make those changes. But when it comes to those love relationships, there's dynamics involved that are, some of them are unseen, like all of the emotional and the chemical and the spiritual energies that are going on. They're not tangible. They're just there or they're not. And we don't always know why a man looks across the room and sees a woman and goes, oh my God, who is that woman? I have to go talk to her. We don't know why. So we can't pull it out of people.
Yeah, we don't know why. And I just want to add to that piece also, you know, on the flip side, sometimes women are like, well, why isn't he doing it? Why isn't, you know, like we're telling them, well, he should be interested. He should show you'll know. But I also want to say there's a situation where some women are closed or are not friendly or get nervous or are worried or are in fear. And so that's the other piece to this puzzle too, is like healthy masculine men, they're not going to force anything. So that's your side of things. You know, if you're not friendly or open or vulnerable and willing to say, you know, I'm an introvert and I'm not really friendly, but I want you to know that I appreciate you coming to talk to me, or I appreciate you calling me and I want to talk to you. I'm just not like the most outgoing person. Like whatever way you want to welcome and invite his attention and his interest is also part of our job in that sacred union flowing, because we, you know, healthy masculine men are not going to want to force themselves on a woman. Those are the controlling men that are going to chase and get the drama out of that, right? I just want to say, because, you know, sometimes when we tell women, you know, you'll know, but it's like, you'll know, but that's if you're open. And if you're not open, you might not know, which that's a whole other problem to solve, right? The being open, that's healing that's needed. But Jillian, that's kind of what you're offering here. And I just want to tell everybody, because you have this amazing gift that you want to talk about, you're offering to everybody that's listening, and I'll let you talk about it. But it's 5 powerful keys to end dating heartbreak and pain, because maybe you're finding yourself in that place where there are some people interested, but you just can't open because you've had the heartbreak, you've had the pain. You don't want to be friendly. You don't want to let this man in. So that's what Jillian is offering below, is the link to that. But Jillian, do you want to tell us more about the powerful keys to ending that heartbreak and pain so you can open again on your dating journey? Because there's no point in dating if you're not open, right?
Well, there is no point, because just as much as we talk about the masculine, when a man likes a woman, he's in his masculine energies and he is the pursuer. So now you need the counterpart to that. You need the receiver. And so obviously the feminine is the receiver. And so that is receiving his pursuit, receiving him when he's coming towards you, and matching that with your femininity, which, you know, for me, it's like your smile. It's, you know, when we talk about like intimacy, you know, different people can have some different perspectives on that, but, you know, being intimate with a man, holding hands and hugging and embracing each other, and, you know, when you're in his presence and he's talking and you're listening, like you're truly listening to what he has to say, and the talking and the listening. So it's always this giving and this receiving. And so if he feels like that he's not being received, he's going to read that as you're not interested. So
exactly.
So there's definitely some information out there that people can read about maybe being a bitch or being cold or whatever these things are. These are some fine lines to get into and some kind of nuances. I don't believe in being a bitch or being cold, because that he will read that. If he's a healthy man, he's going to read that as she's not interested. And why would he bother? Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't have your own life. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have your own passions. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't have all of your own stuff going on. You shouldn't, I don't believe yet. You shouldn't be a doormat. Don't be a doormat. Don't be at his beck and call. However, do receive what he is giving to you. And if you are,
Right.
if you are in your heart and he really is showing you, receive that, because there is nothing in this world that is more beautiful than that love between a man and a woman. And if you're both open to that, it's just a really, really beautiful,
Yeah.
feels so, so good. So yeah, just receive that. But as for the keys, again, it's just the very, very simple basics of dating. Make sure that if you are meeting somebody, whether it's online or in person, that you are getting it to a phone call right away. I'm
Mhm.
actually going to backtrack just a little bit too, because you just mentioned kind of about invitations, like women giving invitations and inviting. And I think in the dating space, women have been taught feminine energy, so they think that they do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Being in your feminine energy does not mean you are over here doing absolutely
Nothing.
not what
Yeah.
it means. That
Yes.
you are receiving and you are participating in the relationship.
Yes.
Right. So I think I just kind of got lost there a little bit, but make sure, oh, this is what I was going to say. So again, everybody's got their different opinions, but I think that it's powerful to also date offline. So I do suggest that women can have like an unlisted landline or an app on their phone that gives them an unlisted number, and that they can put that on a card. Because when you are out in your daily life, you might see somebody that you're like, oh my goodness, who is that person? Maybe you're in a Starbucks line. You could be anywhere, but it is not pursuing a man to give him your card and then walk off. If you've been in a conversation with a man and you're like, oh, okay, well, I just learned from this conversation that he's single, that he is in alignment with me with this, you know, he's got a good job, whatever the things are that are important to you, you can give him your card with your unlisted number or your number that's on your app that is unlisted. Okay, so that,
Yeah.
you know, I do like to have the unlisted numbers, and then walk away. Just don't make it awkward. Have that conversation, give the card, walk away. That is not a pursuit of a man. That is an invitation. Yes. And then it's up to him
Yes.
to call and ask you out on a date. Then he is going to pursue. So it's like, I don't know, you know, we equate it to the old school, the lady dropped her handkerchief on purpose, and
Exactly.
then he coming to her. So your card is the same thing as dropping your handkerchief. In the modern world of dating.
Exactly.
And so I guess you might be, well, the guests might be wondering, okay, well, how do you get it from, let's say you meet somebody online dating. How do you get it from maybe texting to dates? So if a man wants to see you, he's probably going to be asking you. You probably won't have to do anything more. He'll probably be asking you. But when you're on online dating, you have to sift and sort, because most of the men on there are not going to be your match. But many people do meet their matches online. So how do you sift and sort? If he doesn't ask, I say within a week of texting, 2 weeks tops. I don't know what you suggest, but like a week for me is actually kind of the limit, but sometimes people don't have the strength, maybe that I have. So you can give it 2 weeks. If they have not asked for a phone call, then you want to be inviting them on a phone call. And this is how you are going to very powerfully sift out the men that are interested and the men that are just there to be, like you said, your pen pal. So then obviously he's going to call or he's not going to call. So there is step number 2. Obviously, if he doesn't call, then you get rid of him. He's not interested. A man who's interested in a woman, let's never, ever forget, he wants to see her and be with her. So then if it gets to a call, then, you know, again, if he likes you, he's probably going to ask you out on a date. If he doesn't, then you can give that invitation again, and then it's up to him to pick the place and plan out the date and do those masculine energy activities, because I do personally believe that that men do become more attached to a woman when they are doing those things, when they are doing the planning, when they are doing the thinking, when they are trying to figure out how to please a woman. And so yeah, and then, you know, then it just goes to dates. And I like to say, again, it's just my personal opinion, there's really no rules around this. It just really depends on the guy. But start out maybe a little bit slower. You know, you're going out once a week, then maybe you're going out twice a week in month 2, maybe month 3, you're starting to see each other a few times a week. By month 3, you really are in a really congruent relationship. It's really just flowing. You're dating. He's wanting to see you. He's integrating you into his life. He's making future plans with you. This is the one caveat here. Some guys, the players, they want to, they will purposefully, because they know we love words. We fall in love with words, us women. They will create dreams in your mind about future things because they know it gets you hooked, but they never take any actions. But the ones that like you, they are actually planning things and taking action on those things. So they don't say, oh, I'm going to invite you to my sister's wedding that's coming up, and not take you. They're taking you, you know? So if you are meeting a man that is promising these things and creating a dream life in your head, but is not doing that, that's a red flag. That one is a player. And then basically after the 3 months, if he is putting his energy into you, he's pouring into you with his love and his energy and his time and with some of his finances, and he's bringing you into his life, seeing if you fit into his world. After 3 months, I mean, or you could be in a relationship before that, but if he's not doing those things, that's the 3 months is the marker. And I'm, you know, I think that's probably pretty steady over the dating space, is kind of that 3 month mark. If he's not doing these things that we've discussed by 3 months, and you've been a pen pal to him for 3 months, I mean, honestly, that is,
You're gonna stay a pen pal.
You're gonna stay a pen pal.
Yeah.
It's going anywhere. Like you said, start as you mean to go. There was a beautiful UK woman, and she was called the Baby Whisperer. And I read her books and I saw her on TV, and that was her motto with babies. She would go into families and, like, with these crying babies, they're crying, and she would go in and set everything straight. And that was her motto: start as you mean to go. And it's no different in the dating scene than it is for teaching our babies how to sleep and all of these things with babies. Start it out properly, because if that foundation is crumbly, that building is going to fall. So yeah, make sure these things are happening, you know, right off of the bat. If it's not a foundation that a relationship can even be built on.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jillian. And so below is going to be this wisdom in the link below about how to date. So you're avoiding the pen pals, you're avoiding the heartbreak, you're avoiding the pain. So how you can attract these healthy men. And like Jillian said, you know, we talk about the feminine, but the feminine doesn't mean you're not doing your part. There is a part in the receiving. There is a part in the inviting. There is a part in the appreciating. And we do have to do that part so that healthy men pursue, because unhealthy men pursue unfriendly women, but healthy men, it's not really, they're not going to do that, because to them, it's a waste of their time and energy and resources. And so we do definitely have a part, because it's not, you know.
Yes. And that is another one of the keys, is to make sure that you have to date with your heart open. You can't, it's, you know, this is the crux of it. You have to date with your heart open. And it's knowing, with these keys that we have talked about, if that man is worth opening your heart to. Is not doing all of these things that we talked about. You need to protect your heart and make sure that you remove that man from your life. The sooner the better.
Right.
If you have children, especially if you have children. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jillian. It's such a great, I think even if women just took away one of the things we talked about,
Yeah.
Just even debunking that whole idea of like the feminine does nothing, you know, the masculine, because I think women do misinterpret that a lot.
Yes.
And it becomes a problem because then they end up repelling the healthy men. So I think even if they do one thing of these, that's amazing. But we gave them a lot of pieces here to dating going well, and there's more below. So everybody click that. And thank you so much, Jillian, for being here. It was so fun to have you. So great to hear you say these things that I'm all constantly talking about.
Right.
You know, because they work. That's the way. This is the path.
That's right.
So
And
great
it's
to have
so simple until our emotions get involved, right?
Right. Exactly. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye.
Bye.